Testing Guru, and as we are learning about API testing, so we'll continue to learn more concepts about that API testing. And in the last class, we have seen what are the core components of the request and what are the core components of response. Also, we have slightly touched on the status code, what are the different status code we get as a response. So we'll learn more about the status codes in today's session. I will go over that. And as like we have seen in the last class, we get a different status code like 100 series, which is an informational status code, which is just information to the user. Those are the status code. Like for example, if it's 100, you can continue. So 101 switching protocol like that, but most of the people doesn't use that informational protocols. The main protocols they use is the success codes. For example, the 200 and 201. Actually 200, whenever when we send a request to the API and get a response as a 200 okay, then that means the request is completed successfully and we got a response, and we can see the response in the response body. So in that case we see 200 okay, and mostly when we send a get request or a get method used 200 response, we will be getting it. And whenever we create a post request or like a put request, usually a post request will, what it does is it will create a record in the server. So that's why it says like 201 created, the new resource created successfully. So these two are basically a success status codes. That's why I've highlighted in yellow color. And other status codes are like client errors. Basically client error is like if it is coming from the client side, if we have issue with the request itself, in that case we get this client error codes, which starts from the 400 series. And in the last class we also have seen there are 300 series redirect status code, but that is also like not most popularly used. So these client side error codes are like must, and everyone should know about whenever you are doing API testing. That's the reason like I'm covering here. And when we get a 400 request, 400 as a status code, that means the request, whatever we have sent, is a bad request. The request is invalid. So in that case we get a 400 status code. The request could not be understood by the server due to the incorrect syntax. The client should not repeat this request without modifications. In that case we get a 400. And next status code is 401, that is unauthorized. Unauthorized is like the request did not include authentication token or authentication token is expired. In those cases we get unauthorized error code, that is 401. Okay, so client may repeat this request with a suitable authentication header field. So by passing a proper authentication, this error can be eliminated, the 401 unauthorized. And another one is like we also get a 403 forbidden. So forbidden means the client did not have a permission to access the requested resource. Though he has authorized, you may not have a proper permission to access that. So in that case we get a forbidden error like 403. And next status code is 404, that is not found. The requested resource is not found. In that case we get a 404 status code. So, and the next status code is like 405, which is method not allowed. So method not allowed status code are like the response comes when we are using a different method than the actual method used to be used for that particular request type. For example, if we are trying to give a request, okay, for example, if you want to post something and if you are not giving any method body to it, it is like a get request. In that case, it says method not allowed. And also, for example, if you are trying to delete, I mean, you are using a delete method for the get method type. So in that case also, it says method not allowed. And another one important method code as part of client error is like 409, that is a conflict. The request cannot be completed due to conflict. For example, post content source folder API is not complete if the parent location is. These conflicts happens when there is both the things like trying to update the same thing. In that case, like conflict happens. So that there we get a 409 error codes. And these all about client side errors. And apart from this, we also get a server side error. So server side is like when there is no issue with a request made, but the server itself having some issue. In that case, we get a server errors. So first and most commonly, I mean, the error which we get it from the server is like 500 error, which is internal server error. In what actually it does means the request was not completed due to an internal error on the server side. So it is a generic error most of the time, like if server is down and we are not able to get the response, in that case we get an internal server error. And 501, it is a not implemented error. The method is used to fulfill the request doesn't work or was not found in the server. In that case, we get a 501 error. And also we get a 502, that is a bad gateway. Bad gateway is the server, while acting as a gateway or a proxy, received an invalid response from the inbound servers. In that case, we get a bad request or a bad gateway. The bad server, the server got an invalid response while working as a gateway to get the response needed to handle the request. And next one is 503, which is service unavailable. So when the service is not unavailable from the server side and server is not ready to handle that request, in that case we get 503 errors. And we also get 504 errors, gateway timeout. This error comes when we receive, when we don't receive a response on the timely manner. So in that case, we get a 504 error, like gateway timeout error. So upstream server is, at a specified time, it doesn't provide the response. In that case, we usually get this 504 error. And also in the server side, like we also get a 505 error, which is like HTTP version is not specified. In that case, we get a 505 error. The server is not supported or refuses to support in the HTTP protocol version that was used in the request message. So these are the mainly commonly used the REST API response codes and the status and their description, like in that case what we need to do. So that we have just covered here. And in the next sessions we will learn more about the specific tools, techniques, but I will cover in this session like what are the mostly used tools for API testing. So in API testing, we use Postman for the REST services, and SOAP services is used for the SOAP services like SOAP request, and JMeter is also used as a part of API testing. And we also used REST assured and Karate API for the automation. So when we try to do API automation, in that case we use the Karate API and REST assured. So we will go more in detail about the Postman and the Karate API in our next session. So thanks for watching, and keep subscribing to my channel so that you can get a notification on the new videos whenever it is posted. Thank you. Thanks for watching.